It was a 1969 hurricane, Camille, that inspired a national movement. Voluntary Organizations Active in Disaster. At the time, disaster organizations operated quite independently, and the services they provided to the victims of Camille were haphazard. Some services were duplicated, while other urgent needs were neglected. As a result, major organizations came together in 1970 to solve those problems. Since then, they've developed a national network of state, regional, and local VOADs.
And basically it's the conglomeration of nonprofits, interested groups. It can be for-profit or can be nonprofit or for-profit companies that simply want to figure out how can we respond in an organized fashion after a disaster.
You know, it's a huge piece of the disaster process to have all of these agencies working together. We know that we're going to have individuals whose lives have been turned upside down. Maybe their home has been destroyed, they've lost everything, and they're going to need resources to help.
The VOAD principle is let's meet in advance. Let's talk about what we're going to bring to the table when an event occurs.
In Kansas, dozens of organizations make up the state, regional, and local VOADs. Many are non-governmental, non-profit organizations, faith-based groups, and community groups. Their members have been trained for specific disaster response activities and are known as affiliated volunteers. Two of the best-known groups are the American Red Cross and the Salvation Army. When disaster strikes, they are on the scene within hours.
The Salvation Army will bring our emergency canteen, which is a mobile feeding unit. That unit will have hot food, hot drinks, cold drinks, snacks, socks, blankets, things like that on it to support the responders and anyone affected by the storm. We're prepared to feed 400 or 500 at a time. Our mobile feeding unit has a self-contained kitchen in it so we can cook on the truck.
The Salvation Army is also frequently in charge of managing the donations of large household items that help families in disaster. The Red Cross has a big responsibility for mass care, which is Emergency Support Function 6, and they are a very active ESF-8 partner as well.
We have, the ability to pull from across the nation a wide variety of different resources and different thoughts and programs from all types of different offices across the state or across the nation. And so, any way that we can help out an agency, we're interested in at least talking to them and trying to set that up.
One of the greatest assets of the American Red Cross is a large and varied pool of trained volunteers, including medical personnel and counselors. Many ESF-8 partners benefit from this. For example,
it's important to have that mental health piece available to those individuals to really help them cope with what's just happened. They've had a major life-changing event, and so our goal is to really, give them that outlet to come and talk to a trained professional who knows the questions to ask, who knows what to say, and can really help them work through their feelings that they have. What's nice about that is they're also available to staff, and not just our staff, but staff from other agencies as well.
Disaster response and recovery efforts could not function well without the help of affiliated volunteers. However, unaffiliated volunteers can become a problem for responders. A lot of people with big hearts show up spontaneously and want to help. In Kansas, United Way of the Plains has taken a leadership role in volunteer management. Their staff consulted with various county emergency managers who said they needed help.
They looked at, and they were very poignant in volunteers are the secondary disaster because they simply came in like locusts and there was no control, there was no order. They got in the way of what emergency management and the recovery process was trying to do.
Today, it's the designated role of the United Way of the Plains to set up the Volunteer Reception Center and coordinate the work of unaffiliated volunteers.
First 24 hours after a disaster, Our goal is to try to come up with projects for the volunteers once we have opened the Volunteer Center, our Volunteer Reception Center.
One of the things that we look a lot to nonprofits in disasters is that they come in and they help you clean up. And they're usually very, very good to work with. They understand the system because most of them come to the meetings, they understand the emergency support functions, they want to work with us.
The process works out very simple in that we want to be able to manage those folks. And the first part of that is letting them know when they need to be there. And so one of the first things that we do in working with the public information officer of an event is let them know that volunteers are not needed until a certain date. And we'll put that information in the media. 211 will know that information so that people do not descend.
211 is the second important piece United Way brings to help the disaster and recovery efforts. It's a national information and referral phone number that United Way of the Plains introduced to Kansas in 2007.
211 does not provide any direct assistance. We are simply just a referral agency. If you look under rent assistance in the phone book, you're not going to find anything. If you look for utility assistance or free food, you're not going to find anything. And so they don't know where to go find those resources. So simply calling 211, we can walk them through the different things that they're looking for to be able to get the help that they need.
Another administrative task United Way of the Plains takes on through their Volunteer Reception Center is tracking the hours of work volunteers are donating.
Greensburg's a great example. The thousands, hundreds of thousands of hours of volunteers help pay for some of those costs. Reimbursements through some of those federal public assistance dollars that were paid. And volunteer hours convert into dollars, and so we've got to track, all those hours that we can get.
Actually, I don't know how you can have a recovery occur and really work without non-for-profit agencies. It's that important.
It takes us all duplicating to take care of people. And when you think about losing your home, what Red Cross can do and then what we can do is it's a tremendous help to families. But when you just think about losing everything, that can opener, dishes, towels, it takes all of us working together to help these families recover.
We're not going to get them whole again. There's never enough money to get people whole again. But we're going to try to offer as much assistance as we possibly can.
VOADs in South Central Kansas are working closely together and with their ESF-8 partners year-round. The cooperation and collaboration gets better all the time.
If there was one message that I could get out to everybody about the Red Cross within ESF-8, it's that we want to talk to you. We want to partner with you. We don't know what your needs are and how our agencies can interact until we sit down and have that conversation.
It's a lot easier to build those friendships and create these relationships on nice sunny days where you don't have the stress of that disaster event to try to build relationships.
To learn more about VOADs and their response capabilities in a disaster, please refer to the resources that are provided with this video.